To all my friends and followers, my sincere Jai Bhim to you all. Today, I want to share with you an upcoming event which I am hosting along with LA Public Library. It's part of their educational series where they bring speakers who talk to different topics and help educate their patrons. In an interactive and engaging format, this event will answer questions like what is caste system? Where is caste system practiced? Do we see caste system practiced by Indians even after they leave India? What are the ways in which caste system manifests itself, whether it be a rural setting, an urban setting, or like I just prior question, outside of India among Indians? How is caste system maintained? How do people of different castes identify each other? Didn't Gandhi fight against untouchability, and has he made efforts to curb it? And is that true or false? What did Gandhi actually do for untouchables? For answers to these and more such questions, please join us on our online event hosted by LA Public Library on Thursday, May 28th from 6 p.m. PST. Thank you so much. I am Siddhartha Valicharla, writer, producer, and an educator from the Indian untouchable community.
Hi, my name is Saswathi Natta. I'm a PhD student in the sociology department at University of Maryland, and I will be talking a little bit about gender and caste in the diasporic Indian community at this event.
Hi, I'm Jyoti Chavan. I'm a third year at University of Georgia, and I will be the host of this meeting.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, so I am a Dalit student studying in America, but I grew up in India. I was born in America, but I was raised in India for most of my life. And I've heard about it all around from my parents and the people I live with and all the adults around me. And it's been a while since I've grown up with history lessons of Dalits and untouchability. You know, my parents, they were very, very sure that I knew where I came from. But it's been a while, you know, like you get distracted. There's been college and there's been school. So I'm really glad to attend this meeting and kind of learn more about the history that I've been missing in these past few years. I'm looking forward to hearing from Sid and Saswathi on Dalit history, and especially being a woman myself, how caste affects me specifically.
Thank you so much, Jyoti. Yeah, this event will be exactly that. And the whole title of it also shares the same thing. It's about knowing real India. And my story is not that different. I grew up in India till I was almost 25, but pretty sheltered too. So I had to even learn myself as to how caste discrimination happens, how caste discrimination has morphed over years, over decades, over centuries. Because even considering this, you can say, well, is untouchability exactly the way it is as it was before, right? Not true, right? These days, all of us can go and watch a movie sitting side by side in a theater. But it comes up and it is seen in different ways. So that's the discovery we are going on to understand how it plays out today in today's world. And through you and Saswathi, I hope to understand how it plays out in America. Saswathi, did you want to add anything based on you growing up here? You're a second gen.
Sure.
Right?
I was born in India, and I moved to the US when I was 5. And for most of my life, my parents did not really explicitly explain to me what caste was and how it impacted me. We did talk about Ambedkar a lot, and I grew up in that setting of learning about Ambedkar's ideals and such. But it really only hit me personally when I read through God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy to get a sense as an adult of what caste means in the world and really understand what it means for me. And I started on that pathway after college, really, when I went back to India to live there for 2 years and work in microfinance and do some social issues surveys with a organization that was like an impact investing fund. And then I applied back to PhD programs to further study sociology, sociological theory, and then think through how it applies to caste systems and how caste system is a version of social stratification, and how that then intersects with other aspects of identity like gender, like class disparities, and so on and so forth. So it's really become something that I want to study more, and I have faced small things here in the U.S. that indicate that caste discrimination is still here in the U.S. in the Indian community, in the diasporic community of South Asians, and I really want to delve into, in my future work, I want to delve into how it's manifesting itself. What is caste, in a diasporic community? So that's something I'm looking at.
One of the things I've observed is that many of these discussions and the names that you even shared, Dr. Ambedkar or caste and caste discrimination or caste within South Asians, are a little out of reach for common Americans in some ways. I've heard of all these discussions happen in like Stanford or behind these auditoriums in Harvard and Brandeis. A little bit of that bridging is what I'm trying to do with these events, where I make it more accessible, the story. Like yoga, Ganesha, Holi, Diwali are so accessible to Americans, and it has been made accessible by caste Hindus. It helps them and it helps tell their narrative. My goal is to bring our narrative also and make it as common for Americans. When there is Buddhism and Buddha, just to know that Buddha was the first social reformer who fought against caste system, and a lot of his religion is structured around equality, liberty, fraternity, something that's not understood in that concept. It's much more diluted now to meditation and stuff. So I'm trying to bring some aspects of the 85% Indians, because that's how many people are oppressed in terms of either being backward castes or untouchables or tribals, nomadic tribes. So their story is not told, and mainstream America doesn't know much of that. So hopefully events like these, research that you are doing, and Jyoti, who is getting excited and interested in knowing and cultivating the culture and all that stuff, we all can help bring this message out to Americans. And that's what I'm hoping through these events.
I think that's wonderful. I think it's very important for people to understand that the subsection of many Indians who come to the US are actually upper crust privileged people. And the rest of India, there's many different minority groups that have faced various forms of social oppression. And I think it's really important to understand that and, know the diversity of a country like India and what that means for the diasporic group of Indians in the US. And see like what are the comparisons of like minority groups in the US, and compare and contrast them to minority groups in other countries. So I'm really excited to further this discussion.
Jyoti, any closing comments? Have you had any incidents of where you were made aware of caste system or caste oppression or discrimination, even in the periphery, while studying here or going to college now and interacting with other Indians, whether they were born and raised here or have come from India?
I do remember there was this one little incident when the teacher would ask us to call out what caste we were in front of like the entire class. And me and my cousin sister, we were in the same class, and I'm pretty sure we were the only SC/ST students. Not that we knew it then, but she just asked us for our caste. And I think my sister was telling me like, don't tell them that you are SC/ST, but I didn't know what else to say. I think I just said, oh yeah, ma'am, like I'm of SC caste. And I didn't really think of looking for any reactions. I'm not sure if anyone like heard or did anything. And I just remember like some people getting up and saying like, oh yeah, ma'am, I am Brahmin, and just being all like smiley and like, I'm so proud to be Brahmin and everything. And I was just like, oh yeah, that's like, I guess he's a Brahmin. Like that's what my parents like always talked about and everything. So that was just like one direct directly related to caste incident that I can think of. In America, obviously I don't really face it too much, but it's also just hard to talk about it to your friends and to other people. I have started to have discussions with my friends about this and trying to like enlighten them and show them that, look, like, caste is real, and they've disagreed with me at times, but they do like hear me out on stuff like that, and we both learn things from each other. So I'm really glad to like have this, to be a part of this discussion, and not just, and be open to hearing about everyone else's views and what they think and how that might be different from mine, but how they might also be very similar to mine.
Now, when you say friends, are they of South Asian origin or?
Yes, most of them are of South Asian, but also there's some of them that are Gujarati, and they're Patels. So I know that they grew up in America, so they didn't know anything about the caste system. They didn't think that was real. And when I told them, they were very surprised to hear, and they almost didn't believe me, but I had to kind of like show them that, look, like, this is what happened, and it's kind of a part of Hinduism. If you look at the Vedic, we also in India we learned we did the Vedic study, so we learned about the caste system. In fact, the Vedas and the Jatas and everything. So it's I wish I could be more conscious of that and be able to like ask the teacher questions about the caste system and just kind of put her down on the spot and be more specific. But otherwise, it just kind of, I guess, blended together.
Yeah, in some ways, I call it as if a baby is born in India and you put lenses on their baby called caste. So actually, you see everything in India through those lenses. So now, actually, that's your corrective lens. Like if you take it off and look at India, you feel it's absurd, it's different. But people who are born with caste system sometimes don't even realize that there is this depth or there is this discoloration or whatnot. I'm just talking in terms of optic terms, but because you've just been born with lenses, and if everybody's throwing a pair of lenses as soon as they're born, that becomes your 20/20. That becomes the right vision. And in fact, those of us who actually question and see things differently are the ones who are considered not to have a little defect in them, because you're not aligning with everybody's vision. You're not aligning with the society's caste vision. So that's an interesting thing that I sometimes think of, which is why all of India is not revolting against it, because they don't even see a wrong in it, because they're being raised in this way. I do want to quickly share that SC is the full form for scheduled castes. It was a list of castes made during the British time to list out all those castes which were considered untouchables or unseeables or unhearables. So just wanted to make sure that when audience hears SC, they understand that we are still talking about Dalits, untouchables. These are all different names for the same groups of castes who were almost outcast. They would do menial jobs, and their purpose was to serve the other communities, and they would live outside of the village. We'll discuss more about the names in the event too. And similarly, ST is scheduled tribes. These are tribals who are not even part of the civilized society and were kicked out into the forests and the mountainside and the valleys, and they would not interact with the village proper. And they were all made a list out of it, and they are called ST in short form. So thanks for bringing that up, and I thought it might help to share with people who will see this video. Before we close, if audience are listening to us, what quick thing would you suggest they read or watch to get a little more? I mean, obviously they will be at our event and they'll know more, but on their own, if they wanted to read a 5-page thing or watch a quick video or anything, do you have any suggestion?
My take on the caste system is that it's really deep. It's like trying to understand the history of Black America and white America and how those intersect and how, and all of that stuff. It's really hard to do in like a quick way, but a good way to start is maybe a book on Ambedkar. And I know one that is like a sort of a graphic novel that does a quick, summary of like both personal experiences of Ambedkar and then how he grew up and came to identify the things that were wrong in the system and really fight for his minority group, the scheduled caste. The book is great, and I also would suggest maybe reading, if you have a little bit more time, Annihilation of Caste with the Arundhati Roy introduction, because the introduction gives you a little bit more context and comparative lens of understanding caste if you don't know caste all by itself, and then it goes into the original text written by Ambedkar. So those are some two things that are like an easy sort of understanding of what caste is. But maybe talking to somebody who, you know, is of Dalit origin, or somebody who, you know, looking up some of the issues that are happening in India might be another route too.
I guess I can recommend some movies that do a really good job of showing how things are like. In terms of like Dalit history, Shudra the Rising is a really great movie that you can watch. It's a historical movie on how Shudras were treated back in the day, and it does a really good job of showing how it was like. But something that's more pertaining to now, it would be Article 15. It's also another really amazing movie that touches on caste. My personal favorite, it's not a super well-known movie, but it's called 72 Miles, Ek Pravas. It's about a little boy, an untouchable boy, who does this whole journey, meets people, experiences things. It's related to caste, not completely about caste, but caste definitely plays a role in the movie if you watch it. It's a very sweet and sad movie. So these are just a few of the movies that I can recommend.
From my side, one video that I have found very helpful, and in some cases, it's freely available on YouTube. So I even use it for quick presentations, for like just showing a clip or something. So it's called India Untouched. It kind of goes across all of India, across all layers of India. If you're considering rural India, urban India, richer sections of India, for like while going through all sorts of distinctions that a urban society makes, it shows how caste is still practiced in every single form, in every single section, a distinct section. So that's a good one. I find it very, very useful when sharing it with anybody. Definitely, even Americans or non-South Asians can follow it, and it's very easy. So I appreciate you guys giving me this time, and I'm looking forward to a great session on Thursday. Thanks, Jyoti. Thanks, Saswathi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sid. Thanks, Saswathi.